Hello everyone and welcome to this channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and all that other good stuff. You know, to get more of these fun and great videos. Anyway, let's get right into it. Anyway, so today I want to talk about a very interesting phenomenon. You know, and right now I'm finding it very hard to find the words to explain this, but I will try regardless. Anyway, so I want to talk about this interesting phenomenon, and here's what I mean by that. I'm talking about the phenomenon of doing something that at the moment you don't forget doing it, but regardless you do it. For example, like smoking. Even though the act of smoking itself doesn't give you pleasure, you know what I mean? Smoking, and breathing the smoke through your nose and mouth, you know, doesn't feel very good. And regardless, you do it. And I just think that's very interesting. It's very interesting. We can all admit to that. And you might be saying, "Oh, smoking is addictive. You smoke so you can feel good. You know, it's like any drug." But here is the thing: at some point in your life, you didn't smoke, and for whatever reason, you know, you smoked for the first time. Now, before that, you didn't have this addiction and habit that you had to feed every day. So I'm using smoking just as an example. Same thing for drinking alcohol, beer, or any of these liquors. you know and it's very bizarre to me because I don't drink smoke or does any stuff like that. So I'm very curious about that. Why you do something that doesn't give you pleasure? Mm, and you might be asking yourself, some questions, stuff like maybe working, even though you do it, but you don't want to work. You just do it because you have to. But I'm not talking about stuff like that. If that makes any sense. I'm talking about stuff like smoking. Even though before you started smoking, you didn't have to smoke, but you actually, for whatever reason, you choose to do so, even though the act itself is not pleasurable. You know what I mean? And I wonder what could be the reasons for that. One, you know, one reason think of it in the top of my head is affirmation. See, I'm basically talking about you see other people doing it, and you choose to do it because they are doing it. You are copying them. Okay, think that's a reason. What else? Mm, Other reason I could think, maybe it's negative emotions like stress. Your anger that that makes you do something you don't like. but it is a reaction to that emotion, So that is a very interesting phenomenon. For those of you who drink or smoke or do whatever, I want to know your thoughts. So drop them in the comment section. Before I go, see ya.